What's going on, everybody? Bowman 1951 here in the rookie card explosion dungeon with my man
Philmington.
So I've been watching hours upon hours of national footage the last couple of days, and I've got some serious post FOMO. I wanted to be there. I've got a newborn at home right now, just turned a month old, so took up all my time and wasn't able to make it. But I was thinking the other day, I've got a ton of questions to ask regarding, things I've seen in the videos that might not have been answered, or just items that have popped up in my head that I want to learn more about. And I figured I've got access to Phil here. He just got back from the National, and we're going to do a Q&A and just discuss a few things. I'm going to ask some kind of like oddball questions to Phil, some serious ones. He hasn't seen 95% of these, so most will be a big surprise to him. So let's just get started. So Phil, just give us a brief overview of your general thoughts now that you've been home for a few days from the Chicago to just digest it all and how everything went.
Well, Jeff, I have been to a lot of shows in my life, and this one was not falsely advertised. It was just an amazing time. It was huge, aisles upon aisles upon aisles. I mean, it was impossible for me to see everything that I needed to see. Had I been there for an extra day, I still wouldn't have been. So
it was 2 days in total you were there?
2 days in total. Yeah, I got in right at the start on the first day, which was Friday, and I left at close on Saturday. So, I mean, I saw a decent amount of cards. There were points where I was overwhelmed. Just the amount of entities in the hobby that were present between Fanatic and TriStar and third-party graders, the auction houses, Topps Panini. I mean, literally everybody involved in the hobby was there.
I actually just thought of another question. What were the lines like for the third-party graders? Was Beckett longer than PSA, the opposite?
That is a good question. I didn't grade anything myself. I did hear from a YouTube video I was watching that the line was at least an hour and 15 minutes long, I think, and that was on like Saturday.
What company was that?
This is PSA, and this isn't like same event turnaround. These are just people that are just trying to drop off their cards. So I still think even on Saturday, they were still very long.
So now you've been to a giant show like this for the first time. What do you think the state of the hobby is and where it's headed in the next several years from what you've seen at the largest show in the country, if not the world?
Well, this is the first national I've been to, but I did hear from other people that relative to the ones in the past, it was probably the most popular, probably the most transactions, probably the most people. So I think, and also based on the cost of unopened wax, the amount of eBay sales, the amount of people that are on YouTube now and Instagram, I think that's undoubtedly hotter than what it was 2 to 3 years ago. Are we headed for a bubble? I couldn't answer that, but yeah, it's definitely hot right now.
I think that's all about production in terms of whether or not we're headed to a bubble. Supply and demand, they got to keep that in line.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest
point, right?
It's the biggest piece of it for us to avoid another 1993, or 94.
So just going off of some of the items that were there, what was the most unique item you saw while walking the floor? Could be a card, could be anything really.
Ooh, well,
not necessarily like what was in the heritage cases, the PSA 9, Babe Ruth, or that's museum type stuff that you might see at the Hall of Fame or whatever. What was something that a dealer may have had that you saw that was unique?
Well, not answering your question first, but the most amazing thing I saw in a case was a PSA 10, no name on front, Frank Thomas rookie card. I mean, that and a PSA 9 goes for, I think, 10 to 20 grand. So that's insane. You never see those. I never see those.
So that was from a dealer?
No, that was actually in a case. Gotcha. But from a dealer, what I saw that impressed me the most was probably a gold refractor of Mike Trout's Bowman Chrome autograph 2009 card. I think it was in a PSA 9, but we're talking probably an $50,000 to $80,000 card right there.
Right.
One that's
Vegas Dave level stuff.
Exactly, Holy Grail card, one that I'd love to own, just the base version of. But I mean, gold number to 50, that's nuts.
So, just kind of switching gears here, what was the most annoying thing that you witnessed? Like I've seen on some blowout forums or blogs that I've read, some guys were sitting down at dollar boxes or dime boxes or whatever, and people were just like kind of pushing them out of the way. Like, was there anything rude? People that were rude, or just anybody walking around that just kind of annoyed you?
Yeah, I would say that. Well, take away the human aspect, take that out of the equation. I'd say that there were very few places to sit In order,
I warned you about that.
Yeah, you did. I guess Chicago might be a little bit different than some of the other ones. It's actually worse. There's like less room to do like a break. I remember Triple Crown 24 and I were trying to open up just a blaster box each of like football cards. And then we tried to sit down in a nice carpeted upper deck area, and they're like, "Oh, you can't break that here." And I'm like,
"What?
Do you guys even still make cards? Like, who's sitting down here then?" So we had to walk like, I don't know, like a quarter mile to the perimeter, and we were able to sit down in some like
really
secret
annoying.
room. There's a VIP room, and there's like a few other rooms probably I didn't know about.
So there's VIP entrance tickets, is that right? That's how you got into the VIP room?
Not
you in particular, but...
I got there at one point because I was with somebody that had the badge, the VIP badge, and they didn't say anything, but they probably shouldn't have let me in. So it was nice. It's actually important to sit, I would say, for a couple hours like in between. That really helped out my knees on the first day. I think that's more important than the actual shoes themselves.
So purchases that you made, and we've got some out here in front. These are some cards that Phil picked up from the National. But just curious, how did the negotiation process go? Did you find dealers were flexible, or were some unwilling to budge? Sort of a mixture of both?
I would say a mixture of both. I remember actually some footage I was recording, and I overheard somebody ask, "How much is that?" And then the dealer says to the prospective buyer, "That's at the I don't want to sell that card $25,000 price." So it's like, okay. So I'd say there were some cards, for whatever reason, that the dealers didn't want to budge on. Could have been an emotional connection. Could have been just that they were priced right. But I did feel like some cards, maybe the $100 to $500 range, there definitely was some wiggle room to get that knocked down a bit. No more than 20% probably in most cases. But
so, negotiated and out in front for the most part, or did you pay sticker price?
I negotiated on these two, and on the Juan Soto, I was really impressed with the price. When he said it, I was like, "Wait, did you say 250 or 150?" He said 150, and I kind of did snap accept. I have to get used to this. I mean, I've been on the other side of the table as a dealer, and I know how to negotiate from that regard. But I do a lot of my buying on eBay, so I should have been more conditioned to be like, "Whoa, hold on. Like, what about 130 on this?" And worst case scenario, we probably agree on 140.
So you just reminded me of something else. When I was at Cleveland last year, I went to pay PayPal for a guy way in the back, and I had problems getting on the cell phone internet. So I was just curious, how was the cell service within the side, internet-wise? Did they have Wi-Fi that they offered?
I heard bad stories about the Wi-Fi. I never tried to use it once, to be honest.
So you weren't there looking up eBay prices or WorthPoint? Or
no, I did. I leveraged my own internet connection a bunch of times. Yeah, my own reception, and it seemed to be okay. It wasn't terrible. In most cases, I was always able to get it. I mean, at one point, I think I was trying to look up stats for Bobby Dellebeck, and it took like 30 seconds to load. But in most cases, it was good enough. But because it wasn't perfect, I think, it did have the effect of draining my battery on my phone faster than usual. So it's a good thing I had that backup with me.
Gotcha. Okay, so on a more serious note again, outside of the guys you hung out with for the YouTubers, did you hear anyone else talking about the Slabgate scandal? Or did it largely go unnoticed for your typical Chicago person that's there for the first time, doesn't really know cards that well?
So I was surrounded by 40 to 50 YouTubers, not the entire time, but on and off, 1 to 2 at a time. So I didn't get a whole lot of chance to fraternize with any other parties. Yeah. Now I tried to be careful around a lot of the dealers because a lot of those trimmers that are being mentioned on Blowout are probably those dealers in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and there was actually a map somebody made up prior to the National. There were like 5 or 6 tables where they would point out exactly where those potential trimmers were located, so you could tend to avoid them if you wanted to.
It's like the map that you see that shows the sex offenders in like the area. And
yeah, pretty much.
See all this red. And
they're definitely offending, that's for sure. So I've also seen some comments on message boards about younger kids, we'll say 18 to 25, walking around selling briefcases of high-end cards. So you and I have witnessed firsthand some shows in Massachusetts where guys will come up to your table, whip out their briefcase. Would you say this trend is continuing at the National? Did you see anything like that at all?
I did. I definitely did. You try to give people, when they open up their briefcase, a little bit of respect, a little bit of space, especially with the high-end stuff. I mean, the last thing you want, no matter what your age, is to be surrounded by a bunch of strangers trying to see what you have. So I try not to peek too much, but I'd say there is that trend. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I got a lot of Bowman color. I mean, I've seen this myself too. Just high-end slabs. I don't know where these kids are getting their money from. If they're pulling these from the packs and just trying to break even from buy-ins from a break or something. But man, it's pretty impressive.
It's that massive divide in wealth, right? The
you
one
know
percenters.
Me, you know me well enough. I don't deal in high-end cards. I don't know how some of these kids that are still in college or just getting out are walking around with 25 grand worth of cards in a briefcase. It's insane.
Yep.
So on a lighter note, did you see anybody famous walking around that wasn't there to sign autographs?
Ooh.
Gary V doesn't count because he had a table.
Yeah. The Jeopardy guy probably doesn't count because he was signing Jeopardy James.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he has an Allen Ginter card.
And what else? Oh, yeah, that guy that was in that Netflix documentary / autobiography. He was there.
I guess he counts.
Yeah, I know there was some...
was he walking around just saying hello, or was he at a table with a meet and greet?
I don't know, but he signed something for Pepino Man. That's all I know. He was
okay. So, Pino, weigh in there. We're just curious if you just bumped into him walking around, or you've actually got in line to get a signature.
I'm sure there were some closet millionaires there, but again, most of the famous people were probably signing autographs at some point.
I saw you were hanging out at a table with a closet millionaire, I think. Buying high-end Mickey Mantle rookies.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, so we're going to ask some sillier questions here. Which YouTuber surprised you the most that you met overall?
Ooh, I would have to say Eric Those Back Pages. A lot of people that I met for the first time in person at the National, I've had some sort of connection with ahead of time, whether it be text messages, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube comments back and forth on each other's videos. And Eric Those Back Pages, not that he's fake on YouTube, but I would say he's just a little more real, a little more stern, confident. Maybe it also has to do with I didn't know how tall he was, so the fact that he's like taller than me, 6'1", 6'2", he's just a little more intimidating. So I mean, he was still very affectionate,
Eric,
still hugged everybody.
Don't take offense to this, but I feel like you make all your videos at like 3 a.m. and you're just a little more low energy at that time. But I did see your national videos, and you were like a kid in a candy store. Your voice completely changed, and it was during the day, and you were all about it. So
yeah, oh yeah,
I noticed that myself.
He was in his element for sure.
So which YouTuber would you most like to sit down and have a case of beer with? I know you had a few beers. Who would you like to just...
I would say it would probably be... Oh, geez, I'm going to be offending a lot of people here.
Just one.
I'm going to name 3. Snoop, 12922.
It's a good one.
He's the man. Rated rookie Josh. I met him for the first time. We have a lot of similar interests, especially when it comes to collecting. I feel like I didn't have enough time to chat with him, even though, ironically, we stayed in the same hotel. And Silver Jackify, exactly who I thought he was going to be. He's the one that kind of drew me into YouTube. I didn't start making videos till I saw his stuff. Granted, I'd also seen Mike Baseball Collector and Mike O's at that point, but something about Jackify really wanted me to...
Cutting you off there, I feel like I did the same thing with Silver Jackify. I was like, if this guy can do it, then I can do it.
Yeah.
He gets thousands of views. This will be easy. All right, so on the same note, which YouTuber did you think was the biggest jerk? Biggest D-bag?
Ooh, well, that would have to be...
So guys, I want to apologize there. I think my microphone, let's check on it again, cut out a little bit. So really sorry. I guess you'll never get to hear Phil's answer there to who the biggest jerk was that he met. All right. Are you upset that people stole your idea of the fanny pack? I feel like you invented this at shows. Am I wrong about this? And then there was a fanny pack gang, and your idea was completely ripped off.
No. That was actually invented by Silver Jackify, I believe, or Pepino Man.
Well, I've seen you at shows in like the last year or so, and you've always worn one. So
I just bought it in like March. Okay. Silver Jackify, I remember seeing his videos. He's like, I don't care what people think. I'm going to go to a show, and I'm going to have that. And, I don't know why I walked in with an entire backpack. That killed my knees, my back. So
Right.
pack light for the national too. That's going to save your body. But that fanny pack would have been perfect. I can show the 2 or 3 cards that I have. I don't need to show I have 15 pounds of supplies in my backpack. Like why was I doing that? I don't know. But no, the fanny pack was definitely not my original idea.
Okay, my apologies. Did you get to touch Eric those back pages' beard? Did anybody get to touch his beard? Because I feel like I want to. If I saw him for the first time, I'd be like, maybe he'll smack me. Maybe he'll want to punch me in the face. I don't know. But did you see anybody do that?
No, I'm sure somebody did that. It didn't cross my mind. Too distracted
So
by
beautiful.
baseball cards. Yeah, he's a beautiful dude.
And switching topics here, how would you rate the convention food on Yelp? How many stars would you give it?
So, I did not have any of the convention food, but I thought about grabbing a pretzel because I was like, it's a pretzel.
Where were you eating? You were there for like 10, 12
I
hours straight.
skipped lunch twice and ate protein bars, and it was terrible.
Okay.
It sucked.
Do you have any beers?
I did not have any beers there either. But I thought about the beer. I would have had a beer before a pretzel. Actually, it was pretty cool. There was like a place that was like a baseball card bar. Where you buy baseball
This is inside
cards.
the convention.
Yeah, it's like this little stand where you buy like blasters and you open them up on their table and drink beer at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And I guess you have to open it. And when you open it, then you're that much closer to buying a new one.
Dude,
So
did we just think of a
win-win.
new business idea?
Let's do it.
All right.
But yeah, the food, the pretzel, I was so close to having one, but then I heard like 3 people in the background as soon as I brought up, like, I wonder how bad the pretzels are. People were like, it's doused in butter. It's terrible. I was like,
Butter, ugh.
yeah, it's like, well, there's just so much butter, I guess, which
Did you get any Chicago pizza anywhere?
I did.
Not at the show itself.
Yeah, I did. I went to this place called Gino's. I'm pretty sure it's
Pretty
a chain.
famous, right?
Yeah, it's not Giordano's, it's not Lou Malnati's, but it's probably pretty popular in Chicago. I think there's probably more than one. I went
And
there.
how many Yelp stars?
That would be at least 4. I don't know if it's 5. I don't know. I'd have to go there a second time. It was pretty good though. It was really good.
What's just the dumbest thing you saw at the show overall? Not the most annoying, but what was just stupid about the National?
What was stupid about the National is there were no Pokemon cards, which is the future. Well, not the future, but I just
Doesn't
thought...
it stand for sports collectibles, though?
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, like, what's the equivalent? Does Magic the Gathering have like a really big show like that? Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
There weren't really a whole lot of non-sports cards, which I guess is okay.
I'm
But
thinking those are more seen at Comic-Cons. I don't know personally, but
as you saw, you've been to one of the shows where I was setting up. I got more questions on the Charizard than
Yeah,
I did
right.
on any other card except for maybe LeBron. And then I have the case that's all baseball. So why would you even think to look at other
you didn't
stuff?
see one Charizard the entire.
I did not. I took it out of my case. I was hoping to maybe sell it to
Did you
somebody.
show the YouTube guys?
Nah, they don't really know. I think
Yeah.
Lico 3
I didn't
was
know
probably
anything
like,
about it.
oh, that's first edition. That's like, how much does that go for? I'm like,
I didn't
oh,
know
this
anything
is-
about it until you educated me on them. So
Yeah, but it's going to attract more cross collectors for
Yeah.
the years forward, I think. So.
right. What's your personal biggest regret for an item you were eyeing but you didn't end up grabbing and picking up to bring home? Let me take a guess. It was an Alex Bregman.
Yeah, so it would have either been a blue refractor autograph Alex Bregman, I think 1,300 or so. That was the range there. I probably could have dropped him a little bit, but I never engaged in a serious negotiation. They don't really come up a lot on eBay, and that's one of the ones I don't have. I almost completed the rainbow. I mean, I don't have gold or orange either, but or red. But now...
So almost completed it.
Yeah, so not at all. I just have like 5 of the base and 5 of the refractors and 5 purples, but nothing else. But another thing that I would have wanted is a trout of some sort. Just the prices were like super high.
Yeah.
More so than the Shriners one.
But you're not regretting it because, I mean, it's just unaffordable, right?
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, I didn't ask on a few of them, I guess. I was doing the footage. I actually didn't even know I saw them until I went back and saw my own footage in the video, and I'm like, oh, there was a PSA 9 trout there. I didn't even ask about that one.
Nice.
But I was kind of intimidated and scared off, and I just assumed that everything was going to be sky high. Like the dealers have this secret conversation where they decide where to price the trouts on all those major rookie cards, and
Yeah, makes sense. Well, you can pretty much ask whatever you want for a trout, and maybe somebody will walk up to your table
right,
willing to pay it.
that's what they're hoping for.
What do you think the organizers of the show can do better in future years?
So that's a good question. I don't know if this is the organizers' problem or if it's all of the entities that are there at the show, but there are certain perks, certain events, some of which were limited to just VIP passes. Some were available to all. Most were available to all of us. And I just didn't really know about them.
Mm-hmm. Did you see research in the top front, or you didn't hear about it?
Yeah, even with like a vast network of YouTubers around me, like nobody knew when the Topps Q&A night session was going to be till like, I don't know, like the week of.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Friday. I showed up and it already happened.
From what
and
I've
it was already
heard,
filled
though,
up.
that was a very limited ticket.
Yeah, $250.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have had a chance anyways. But there's certain things like the PSA. The customizable card thing, I heard about that from the tubers, but if it wasn't for the tubers, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Did you do one?
I did not.
Oh wow.
So it would have been nice to be able to plan for certain things like that. Like, okay, so Friday I'll do this. I'll go to the PSA luncheon, which is something that you have to be like on the registry first. I'm not, but it would have been nice to know about that, so I could have maybe done that ahead of time. There were all sorts of like, I guess like raffles where they're giving away spots and free case breaks. Like that wasn't really publicized too well. I didn't hear about it.
It was just like breakers that were randomly doing
I think so. A lot of it was for kids, but I think they had some for adults too. The eBay $10 off promotion thing, another thing you wouldn't have known unless you talked to somebody or you walked by.
I asked you over text to get me a couple coupons. Did you? Where my coupons
I thought you were talking about ComC.
No. I said grab my $10 eBay coupon.
Ah, damn it.
I heard somebody picked up like 3 or 4 of them. I mean,
He's not going to be able to use them all. That's Mike Baseball Collector. He's
oh,
stupid.
That was Mike? Why not?
Because they're going to know that it's the same user ID. They're only going to like. I really don't think.
I thought they had unique codes and you just use as many as you want.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it works for them. Good luck, Mike.
Finally, what would you personally do different when attending in future years?
I think something that I could have done a better job on. I mean, I brought a bunch of cards to sell, right?
You had your briefcase.
It was a box like this. Bunch of cards to sell in there, chock full of my
fresh
backpack.
From PSA.
I only took them
out. You guys
out,
want to buy these?
Yeah. I only took them out like twice. And what I realized is the only way that you can get like a decent price on stuff that you're trying to sell is if it's involved in a trade for a more higher end item. Like that's where you can get a better bang for your buck, because you might be able to. It's like when you're trading in a car, you're gonna get absolutely smoked in most cases. You just go to a dealership, hey, buy my truck.
Would you have tried to do that with other dealers or people you met? Maybe just somebody randomly, you see the cars that they have in a briefcase, they open up, you're like, hey, I want to trade for that. What were you thinking there? Like, would you just walk up to a dealer table and try to do a trade that way?
Yeah, well, I'd first, and I know this because as a dealer, I've seen people do it to me, but I would try to negotiate a card, like before I even show what I have in my PC or inventory. I would find a card I liked, try to get it down to a price that I was comfortable with, and say, oh, do you accept trades? So they've already given me their lowest price, and then it's up to them to give me how much I want to get for my card.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm probably not going to get 100% of what I ask for. I'm not going to get 100% of eBay recently sold items, but I could get something that works for me and the dealer. But just like taking out cards and asking, do you want to buy this? Like I just got a few flat out no's, and then I just stopped taking them out. And then I'm like, oh, like I come home with all these cards. Like, damn it! Like I had a pretty good chance to land something a little bit more high end than what I actually got. These cards, nothing against those, but could add some more stuff.
All right, so that's going to about do it for my Q&A with Philmington here. Really appreciate him taking the time out of his busy day to offer up his rookie card explosion box basement, where all the magic happens, and answer some of these questions that I had that I've been thinking about the last couple of days. So I just have one more, Phil. Anything you'd like to add that we haven't discussed so far?
Well, something that I underestimated was the cost of wax. It was actually much more affordable than what I'm used to. But then you got to consider, like, when you're buying off eBay, not only are they paying those 13%-ish fees, but also you have the cost to ship, which is more expensive with bigger, heavier items like unopened wax. And these guys, Saturday comes around, it was definitely cheaper in a lot of areas.
Yep. And you didn't even go Sunday, right? So
I didn't even go Sunday.
Last year it was, they marked down stuff they did not want to take back.
Exactly.
It's kind of the junk.
So you have a lot of things working in your favor as a consumer there. But I unfortunately didn't have enough baggage space. I would have loved to pick up some boxes for my future rookie card explosion boxes, but unfortunately that didn't happen. It's something I'll keep in mind next year for a C.
Right, and that's one thing I wanted to touch upon. Phil and I have already been discussing our travel arrangements for 2019 down to Atlantic City, because we can effectively drive there, and by driving, you might be able to come home for rookie card explosion boxes, cases, and whatever else. So it's much better to drive to one of these shows than to fly and have to take an extra suitcase or whatever to load up. But you got your singles, and you were happy with that, so it seemed like a successful show for you, and you had a ton of time. Every video I've seen, I mean, just absolutely loved all the footage you guys put out and the after parties, and it was just a ton of fun to see from afar, and I'm sure many people feel that way that didn't get to attend the show. So thank you all for putting out those videos. I saw a lot of view counts are up considerably, so you're getting a lot of views from outside of the typical YouTube community, because there's tons of card collectors out there that didn't make the show, but they wanted to see what it was like. So again, thank you, Phil. Thank you for everybody for watching, and hope to meet you all at next year's National. We'll definitely be there, and we'll see you at the next video. Talk to you soon.
Philmington out.